Hi, I'm Kevin McGeary, regular contributor to Hannah's Bookshelf, and today I'm going to discuss 5 books, 3 fiction and 2 non-fiction, that I've read in the past month. So I'll start with My Name is Emilia Del Valle by Isabel Allende. So Isabel Allende is well into her 80s now, and she seems to churn out a book a year on average. And her latest novel is a real return to form, because the last one, The Wind Knows My Name, was about migration, and it spanned from Nazi Germany to Biden-era US, with people fleeing to the southern border. And I think that one was broad rather than deep, and some of the characters didn't feel all that real. But this one is one of her best in many years. So here is a great quote from it. "Death was also with me, silently waiting its turn. It did not materialize as a repulsive skeleton with a scythe, but as a patient older woman dressed in white, also inspired a strange sense of acceptance, a feeling that the story of my life had been written this way from birth, and nothing could change it." So, like most protagonists in Allende novels, the main character is a plucky woman of questionable parentage who is swept through history for reasons within and without her own control. So the next one, The Book of Records by Madeleine Tien. This is an outrageously ambitious novel set just off the coast of Foshan, China, where I lived for 4 years. So here's a quote. "Du Fu had fled into the night. On impulse, he'd climbed Yangzhou's city walls. When dawn came, all that could be seen was a glowing shroud of fog, and he knew that if a person journeyed into the mist, they would stand inside history, ruined palaces, old empires, desperate, hideous, lost time. I love the past," he thought. "I always have." In the 20 years he'd spent preparing for the examinations, which is to say, shaping himself to his destiny, he had committed the 5 classics and the great works to memory. What did he have to show for it? 10,000 poems at his fingertips, and he was utterly lost in the very place he stood. So Du Fu was historically a Tang Dynasty poet. So the Tang Dynasty of China was when Europe was in its dark ages. But China, so from about 607 to 918 AD, when China was the most advanced civilization in the world by far. So the next one is The Hopkins Manuscript by R.C. Sheriff, which was published in 1939 and is about an impending catastrophe. So Sheriff was, of course, a World War I veteran who famously wrote Journey's End. So here is a quote. "The reader may feel that I was taking an absurd, exaggerated view of my misfortune, but every normal, honest man will sympathize when he calls to mind how some trivial misfortune, such as a minor motoring offense, has preyed upon his mind until it has energized itself as a tragedy." So this novel reminds me a bit of the film Don't Look Up. It's about an impending disaster, and it was published just before apocalypse was about to happen for millions of people. The viewpoint character is kind of a pompous pedant, so it's funny picking through what he says and how much of it we should take seriously. The next one, Time's Echo by Jeremy Eichler, is very possibly the best non-fiction book I will read this year. It is really powerful. It's subtitled Music, Memory, and the Second World War. Here is a great quote. It's about the notion of a timeless masterpiece, which is deeply ingrained in the culture, and music does flout the laws of time in mysterious and miraculous ways. So, the music of the music of Beethoven, for instance, should not sound the same before and after Auschwitz. It cannot mean the same thing. To hear the Ninth Symphony without hearing the scars inflicted on it by the intervening centuries is to turn its sincere idealism into a kind of feel-good freedom kitsch. So my copy of Time's Echo by Jeremy Eichler is full of post-it notes of standout quotes, and there's so many interesting ideas and really powerful and harrowing history. And the last one is Chinese Parents Don't Say I Love You by Candice Chung. So Candice Chung is a food critic, and this is a memoir about her relationship with her parents and her rocky love life. So here's a paragraph. "The food is not only there to let you know that fine eating will eventually cease, that life is a banquet that will someday end. No, the food is itself encrypted with loss and corruptibility. The food is dying before your eyes. By the time you see the painting, the food is long gone." So very wistful, melancholy book by food critic Candice Chung. So that is 5 books I have read in the past month.